Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, I'm trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot, I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code. Switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What's growing on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown EMC. Today, we have a great story talking about Drake. You know, he's too sexy these days. He's on fire on the Billboard charts, breaking all kind of records. But he's also joined a host of other celebrities, top-tier celebrities and athletes who are now investing in plant-based meats. So today we are going to talk about he's too sexy for meat. Drake helps raise $40 million for a vegan chicken brand. Now, the vegan chicken brand that Drake helped raise money for is called Daring Foods. Now, Daring Foods, they plan to use that $40 million to expand their retail footprint so they can bring their plant-based chicken to you. And the brand's original chicken pieces, they're made from water, soy protein, sunflower oil, and spices that mimic both the flavor and texture of traditional chicken without the need to slaughter the animals. Now, actually, in 2018, Drake revealed that he no longer eats meat during a discussion on gaming platform Twitch. After stating that he eats pizza while gaming, chicken and pineapple on pizza would work, but I don't eat meat anymore. So with this new investment in Daring Foods, you can see that Drake is really putting forth his foot forward in plant-based meats. And this has been, as I stated, this is becoming a rising trend with our rappers, athletes, but it is a rapidly growing market. So Farmer Brown, what do you think about Drake and his vegan chicken?
First, I just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well, healthy, and safe, keeping your sanity within all of this madness. But yeah, this is a trend. I remember, doing some presentations a few years back, and it was very evident that a lot of athletes and influencers and celebrities were heavily vested in companies like Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger. If not as investors, but marketers. Here at B1AG, one of the components of any product that you're selling, you have to be able to market it. If I want young melanated kids in North America to partake in my product, I'm going to use the people that these people look to as influencers. We think about people like Peace Brother. We think about people like Serena Williams. She's heavily invested in vegan products. She actually has a vegan leather line. When we think about Rihanna, so she's the highest paid female entertainer in the world, and a big part of her bag is vegan beauty products. So saying that to say, here at B1A, we're not necessarily all about throwing shade, but we do like to play this rudimentary game of connect the dots. And so I think as we dig a little deeper into this conversation, too sexy for meat, I will say that it's very important because I doubt Drake has been on a chicken farm. I don't know what this man does day to day, but these people have agents. They have financial agents that suggest to them, hey, this is something to put your money in. This is something to tie your brand to. And so when we have this conversation specifically around melanated farmers, I would hope that the melanated family watching right now is just internalizing within themselves their capacity to either produce the food, distribute the food, store the food, market the food, or sell the food. And so just really finding a niche within this agricultural process. I look forward to deep diving into this conversation.
So everyone that's watching now, like, share. Doesn't cost you anything at all. Just a little click. Like, share. Let's grow this conversation. Let's get more of the melanated peoples involved in talking and thinking about our food system, and everything that's going on with it. Because what we eat is at the root of our everyday life. Because if you don't eat, you perish. So let's grow this conversation. Now, also subscribe to B1AG Daily Bread Podcast on YouTube. And also you can check us out at the Black Boss channel. That's through Dr. Boyce Watkins News Network. Now, speaking of plant-based meats, they are a key driver of sales growth at grocery retails nationwide, growing almost twice as fast as overall food sales. So it is a growing market. It's a rapidly growing market, and therefore there's a lot of money to be made if you are an investor in plant-based meat products. Now, in the United States, 98% of the people who buy plant-based meat also purchase conventional meat. So it's like, there are a lot of, flesh eaters that are buying this plant-based meat. However, they're giving it a try, for whatever reason, whether it be for health or for humanitarian reasons. There is a growing number of people that do eat conventional meat that are trying this new meat. Now, we're talking about worldwide consumption. In 2020, the plant-based meat market was worth $5.6 billion. Now, their compound growth is forecasted to be 15% during 2020 through 2027 to reach $14.9 billion by 2027. So again, there's a lot of money they're expecting to be made. The growth of this market is outgrowing regular conventional foods. So that is why we see a lot of our celebrities, a lot of our athletes, endorsing it. There is a bag to be made, along with, a lot of the health benefits of just eating more plant-based.
If you could pull that infographic up. So, we can't have these conversations without, we look at the left and we look at the right. We want to look at this from all angles. And so absolutely on a health angle, I can definitely see the value and appreciate the value of eating more plant-based, more vegan, less stress on the livestock, less stress on the animals. But when we think about Kizzmekia Corbett, for the family that's watching, remember her role in the rollout of the Aksay Ingbe. We know the melanated people many times, I'm not saying that this is the case now, but, to get our wheels working early, many times are used to push efforts and agendas. This could be good. This could be bad. But like I said, when we think about Serena Williams, and so she's raised $43 million for Daily Harvest. This is a vegan company. Jay-Z, he invested $250 million of his own in Simulate. This, again, similar to Daring Foods with Drake, is a plant-based chicken nugget alternative. We think about Chris Paul, heavily vested in Beyond Meats. Shaquille O'Neal, heavily vested in Beyond Meats. We think about people like Derwin James and Snoop Dogg. Just recently, they were giving out, I think, 600 different samples of Beyond Meat products. I think they had hot dogs and hamburgers at a Charger game. So we got some of our rappers giving out samples like it's a grocery store. And I doubt any of these brothers would just go do anything for free. So we understand that there is a bag in promoting these products. A lot of the melanated family has raised questions. I'm not going to say concern, raised questions. Oh, y'all care about us so much now. Practically, it could be because we know everybody eats, that this melanated group of people in what we call Turtle Island, North America, they're going to eat these products. And so we want to get people they love and respect and trust to promote these products. But then also, not to digress too far away from a discussion we had yesterday about research has been done since the 90s and using plants, certain leafy plants as an alternative for syringe injections of certain gene therapies, I'll say, certain treatments of, various ailments that we see going around. And so the conspiratorial part of me does kind of question, and once we see some of the other major players in this dynamic, I think the family will understand where we're coming from. But yeah, on the surface, this is great. So these people's agents then came to them and said, hey, Sean, hey, Aubrey, hey, Chris, hey, Shaq, these are some great things to put your money into because we understand that this is where the future of food security is going. We had discussed Rick Ross. And so Wingstop, one of his big bags come from being a part owner in one of the large Wingstop franchise models. And so we definitely understand that melanated presence, our marketing ability, we definitely influence consumers. And so when we have this B1AG conversation, we want to look at how can we leverage this same concept of marketing? How can we leverage this popularity, this influence that our melanated people, our athletes, our entertainers have to promote Black farmers? Because we see that, when you look at mainstream promotion of melanated farmers, you're not going to see them. You're not going to see them. When you go to Kroger, Publix, and you see these cute pictures of the people that brought your watermelons, they're never going to look like minority, or I said minority, that's a bad word here. They're never going to look like melanated farmers. And so once again, and I think once you pull up this next demographic, I think it'll make a little bit more sense of what I'm getting at. So we had done an article a few months back. And so we know this guy. A lot of us in the hip hop community grew up saying, hey, I want that Gates money. And so what they say, follow the money. Where is this man putting his money? So he owns 268,000 acres of prime farmland in North America. We know that this individual sources the onions, the potatoes for the French fries, and I want to say the carrots for McDonald's. He's also a heavy proponent of, Acsains Bay in Alkebulan in Africa. There have been stories that some of these Acsains Bay have caused, certain problems. We're not here to give medical information, more so than just playing this modest game of connect the dots. And so this person also has a large say-so in treatments in North America. And this is all done through, I just want to help. I want to make people healthier. I do also have a goal of minimizing carbon emissions, which includes cutting down on animal production and cutting down on population of what some people will classify as useless eaters. So we're not here to influence anybody's thought more so than just getting your wheels going. And so we saw that the melanated people on the first infographic have used their star power to leverage money to fund these startups. That's not a bad thing. How do we got these good ideas? We want to feed people. And so, hey, if you're popular enough to get people to invest, hey, well, you use your brand, use your name to do this. Gates came out of his pocket with $75 million to invest in Beyond Meat. Between Beyond Meat and Impossible Burger, he's one of the largest investors. But when we think about some of his suggestions for rich nations, out of his mouth, rich nations should shift entirely to synthetic beef. Synthetic mean, okay, this isn't real cows, this is plant-based. If you can go to the next demographic or the next infographic. So Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Richard Branson led a $90 million investment campaign for Motif Ingredients. This is an alternative meat startup. People put their money where their mouth is. We know these people are trying to come up with spaceships to get away from the planet. I've heard stories about Amazon and some of the work conditions, so we've heard stories, good and bad. We've heard about the altruism of these people, philanthropy, but we've also heard some of the more nefarious, accusations, or as Black Dot would say, allegedly, we've heard some of the nefarious activity. So saying that to say these people are invested very heavily in alternative meat. These people have the ear of legislative bodies, not just in North America, but around the world. When we think about the World Health Organization, we're in this game of follow the money. You know, I got this group of people over here who's getting disenfranchised, discriminated against, all of these ungodly things happening. But if all they're going to come to me with picket signs and complaints, then I got this small group over here that's coming at me with billions, with millions. The people with the bag are going to be the ones that are getting the legislative considerations. And so we're saying all of this to say when we have this B1AG conversation, we have all that we need, and we have all pretty much all that we're going to get when it comes to addressing our solutions within the community. We're not going to talk too long today, but we brought this story up to say marketing is a big piece of changing this culture of ours. We have to get out of this culture of dependence on other people to come up with the best solution to feed melanated people. We know that there's a laundry list of issues to be addressed within our communities, and there's no one specific silver bullet that's going to fix them all. But we do understand that we have to eat. Food is a medicine. Who are the best people to produce this medicine? Do we want to keep getting it from China and then have the shipping containers and the barges, you know, stuck on the ports like we see happening in California right now? Or do we want to look at localizing our food systems? Do we want to look at empowering individuals and communities and producing some of their food? Because we know the big money is talking about, okay, I'm not going to go out here and farm, but I will invest in research to put what I want to feed you into these plants. And so when we're thinking about the law of compensation, are we meeting their effort with our own effort to say, okay, I feel you want to feed us, but we want to feed ourselves more, and we want to feed ourselves healthier. I think this is definitely a conversation we need to continue to have, families, starting yesterday.
And let us not forget, small scale, localized food production equals food security. That's what it's all about, food security. Making sure that we not only have food to eat, make sure that that food that we eat is healthy and real. You know, I have nothing against plant-based meats as long as you can tell me what plants are in the meat. You know, because I've had, I've been, as an athlete, you know, I've always searched for healthy foods to eat. Like I've had meatless hamburgers made with black beans and walnuts. See, I know what black beans are. I know what walnuts are. I know what mushrooms are. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you come with me with plant-based meats, and again, the plant has a long name, and, you know, I start to get wary. But one thing for sure is, like Farmer Brown said, small scale localized food production that cuts back on the shipping distance of your food. You know where your food is coming from. Supply chain disruptions are running rampant worldwide. It only makes practical sense that, okay, if there's such a problem shipping things worldwide, then we need to shorten that distance. And the best way to shorten that distance when it comes to our food is to produce food locally. Not only is that healthy for us, but that also stimulates local economy. So, you know, there's a bag in that. It's healthy. You know where your food is coming from, and your food is less likely to be contaminated. Because there's been a lot of recalls lately, you know, for national chains when it comes to our food. And that's, they have to go, the demand is so high that, you know, certain safety protocols are often overlooked, you know, just trying to get the food out. So local, like again, small scale localized food production equals food security.
We see that mainstream, they've invested in a lot of wheat crops to produce butter biscuits, right? Peace to the sister, Vicky Dillard. There's a lot of money put into butter biscuits. to convince a handful of melanated people to, tell the rest of the herd, these are called Judas goats, hey, do this, follow this farmer and this large metal object. You might not come back, but follow. And so these are Judas goats. I just need you to behave a certain way and lead the rest of the flock wherever I want to lead them. And no farmer is raising animals as pets. Every animal is to be raised to be processed and consumed in some way, whether it's for your meat, your fiber, your milk, whatever. Saying that to say not to be funny, as a community, we have to incentivize our Black producers. It's not a maybe. It is like if we want to have a choice in the matter. One of the best burgers I've eaten is vegan burgers. And so, we're not in any way shading the concept of plant-based meat, more so than really connecting the dots of who are the major players. What are the major factions? Is this saying that, and I will give salute Chris Paul and Jay-Z. And so they did recently, and this was an article that came out last week, invest like $3 million in a Black-owned vegan company. I think he's out of Georgia. And so this is beautiful. We need more of that. And not just these companies. The companies are great, but how do we start really making it rain on our Black producers, our Black farmers? They need all of the support they can get. We constantly get questions of, where to send the money to. I want to get involved. I want to support. Here at B1AG, our concept is, we want to stay in lane. We try to take counsel from the elder or the ancestor Booker T. Watley, avoid the middleman like a plague. So our job here, B1AG to Black agriculture is like Rush Limbaugh to the Conservative Party. Rush Limbaugh never served in any sort of governmental position, but because he lended his voice, he had the commentary over 20-some years before he died. He literally built this excitement behind the conservative movement. Whether you love it or hate it, Rush Limbaugh indelibly affected and empowered the conservative movement. So our goal here at B1AG is to uplift our Black producers. This is a group that is, in my opinion, one of the most resilient archetypes of Black. If we want to say Black, melanated, carbonated, sun-kissed, Aboriginal, this group of people has to be supported by their own. We don't want people to come, help comes from many different places, but you should never have to compromise or minimize our specific B1 plight for the sake of, okay, I want these people help, and so I realize I can get this help if I really don't say Black. If I keep it for everybody, if I'm diverse, maybe I can get some help. And unfortunately, a lot of our producers are being put in this situation. I had gone to a Black farmer conference, and it was sponsored by the USDA. And I remember the president, and this is one of the more prominent ones. The president got up speaking to the farmers. This is a room full of hundreds of Black farmers. He's like, yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about, but the USDA funds 75% of this conference. Good morning, sister. So the USDA funds 75% of this conference. And so, just like we have on social media, if there's mindsets that don't want you talking about certain things, I have to play by the rules on your court. And so this is why it's important for us to build our own court. When we're talking about Black farmers, these are some of the most resilient people. These are some of the most creative, innovative, because this group of people has had to consistently work with the least amount of resources, the least amount of help, the least amount of subsidies. And so when we think about like real long-term investments, these are tangible investments, family. We're not investing in maybe this person can produce something. Like, no, these are people that know how to produce something that you will inevitably consume. And then the opportunity on our end is now, where can I find a niche within this system to get this food from these people that produce it to the people that are going to eat it? We know every melanated person walking around this country eats something. Is this saying that everybody has to be involved and everybody's just going to eat their food from a Black farmer? That's logistically impossible. Is it a formidable goal to try to get to a point to where whatever happens, whatever direction this goes politically, socially, economically, that we have that choice? If I'm raising my kid in a big city and it's like, I want it to be lifestyle. I want it to be normal for my kids to understand 50%, 60, 70% of their diet is going to come from people that look like them. This should be a goal. There's a 2030 goal. When we think about this alternative meats, there's a 2030, 2040 goal of characters like Bill Gates that, hey, we want the majority of the meat consumed around the planet to be plant-based or alternative meat. Because when we say alternative meat, and I'm not digressing too far, not all of it is plant-based. Some of it is, I'm just going to grow this in a petri dish. I'm going to take a skin cell. I'm going to take some tissue off of this cow's ear. I'm going to take some tissue from this bird. I'm going to put it in a petri dish, put in my magical sauce, and it's going to grow in this petri dish. And here, people, y'all eat it. I might put in these little Soylent Green. I didn't mean to say Soylent Green. I'm going to put it in these nutrition bars, these healthy blocks, and this is what you're going to eat. And so our whole goal here is some people might be cool with that. And if you're cool with that, hey, if it floats your boat. But for the melanated people who want to have a healthy diet, the melanated people who want to have a choice, a part of us having this choice is reasserting ourselves, not waiting for somebody to invite us in, not waiting for somebody to get an epiphany that, you know what, I'm shooting myself in my foot disenfranchising these black farmers. I'm shooting myself in my foot trying to create imagery and marketing this concept that these black folks can't do nothing for themselves. And so the degree that we're able to realize that we're all that we need and focusing that star power, right? Focusing that star power and producing food by melanated hands, using some of the star power. Okay, maybe the A-list celebrities ain't with it. They don't want to compromise their bags. So if we can get some of these younger rappers, throw a couple of lines in your bars about some of your local producers, make it sound cool. Take some, shoot some videos of some of these local farms. Stoke that imagery of the people who watch you that, hey, that seems like a cool place. We got to be creative, family. We see that the faction that has all of these answers for us, like she said, thanks, but no thanks. There's some help we just don't need. There's some help that only can come from within. And the ability to produce food, the ability to know what this process looks like is, to me, a formidable start.
Now we see the story, Drake, he helps raise $40 million with his vegan chicken brand. But Drake also invested in Dave's Hot Chicken, which is a conventional chicken restaurant chain. So let's not get it twisted. Everything that we see these celebrities and their investments is not necessarily based in health, but it is based in wealth. It's about that money, dollar bill, y'all. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we just keep in mind, there is an agenda, a worldwide agenda to push towards plant-based or alternative meats. And they are using our celebrities, our biggest celebrities, to push this on us. I'm not saying good or bad either way, but just be aware. Just be aware.
Bro, do you have that article? I kind of really want to run it across the family, what we were talking about the other day with some research. I just want the family to see it that's watching. The research going into using these plants as an alternative to a syringe.
Give me just one moment.
As he's pulling it up, family, and we're not here to scare. We're really here to just point out that, hey, this is what's going on. What are we prepared as individuals, as families, as communities, as groups? What are we prepared to do in a situation where something's not right? When I think about this plant-based meat, I just can't, the tinfoil kufi starts magically popping on my head. And if we know that plants are literally right now being experimented on, like, how can I grow this plant to distribute this ABJ, this Axe Ingve, for people that don't necessarily, want to engage with the needle. And if I'm one of the major proponents whose dad happened to be a eugenicist, this entity we call Bill Gates, and I own 240,000 acres of land, there's nobody on this planet that can stop me from using hundreds of thousands of my acres. Like, I have every right, because I own it, to grow these ABJ Ace Bay ants play. There's nobody stopping me. Once you own something, hey, this is the land of the free, home of the brave, the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of property, right? So this is why we got to have our own property. If we see that some property owners are likely, could possibly, in the words of Black Dot, allegedly, going to use their land for experimental purposes with plants. When we're talking about plant-based, what is stopping? You know, how many of us are inserting ourselves in the processing of meats? Absolutely. Absolutely. How many of us are investing in the science behind this? Because investing in science is just investing in planting these seeds in our kids' minds. Investing in those what seem to be crazy people that run around our community that, man, why is this bro over there always in the garden? Invest in that brother. Invest in that sister. Invest in these people who are taking time to learn how to grow, and then at the same time learn something from them. So we can counter this if somebody wants to use hundreds of thousands of acres to grow abjay, East Bay, ants play to serve for the 70% of the melanated family who are skeptical about the syringe. And like I said, this isn't us making this up. This is research dating back to the 90s. This recently popped up again, that this is one of the solutions to get this to these apprehensive communities. And your salads. Well, you know, what do salads consist of? And I think this was specifically talking about spinach and lettuce, the most recent research. And so we do have to question what are in these plant-based meats. We can't even get questions about, you know, the ingredients of things that are being mandated. And so once again, family, instead of trying to get prepared, let's just stay prepared. This preparedness is us taking it upon ourselves to decide, you know what, this is important. I'm going to spend X amount of a couple minutes out of my day. Every day I'm going to learn at least 5 new things about agriculture. I'm going to learn 5 new things about food production. I'm going to search what kind of research is being done when it comes to food and ag technology. I'm going to take it upon myself. I'm not just going to listen to these online creators while my Google is still working. I'm going to look these things up. And this is the power that all of us have. And like the bruh said, we got to start supporting our black farmers. This is the last of a dying breed.
Now, that research that we were talking about, they're talking about transferring using green leafy vegetables to transfer mRNA. So, edible vaccine bays. Now, if you want to take the vaccine bay and you want to eat it, that's fine. But what if they can just have you unknowingly or unwittingly taking the vaccine bay because they've mixed it in with your food? That is a question and a concern, and definitely worth a conversation. At least a notation, a mental note. Let's get to going. Let's get back to the garden, y'all. Let's get black to the garden. Let's get our hands in the dirt. Let's put our prints in the mud. Let's grow our own food. Let's get these heirloom seeds. Let's start stocking up on heirloom seeds. Let's make sure that we are food secure. It's getting weird out here, y'all. And it's getting weirder by the day. And things that most people would think that would never happen. It's happening. Oh, they would never do that. They've already done it. So let's just be practical. Again, this is exactly what it's about. Freedom and choices. Governing bodies and those in the elite or whatever, they feel like they have the best ideas for us, even if they don't believe in the ideas for themselves. Oh, that's for you, not for me.
We're exempt.
Yeah,
we just want to help you. No, you going in the front of the line first. We want to help you first. Y'all are outbreeding us, but I want to help you first to grow and live.
You have to get this. You either get this or don't work.
Oh, and we'll replace you. The Sister Lioness Crown, my battery's going red. The Sister Lioness Crown touched on this the other day, and it's deep. The replacement governor of New York said, well, hey, for y'all that don't want to get the ABJ, we'll just replace you with foreigners.
There it is. Hey, y'all. Like, share. Let's grow this conversation. It's getting weird out here. We need to stay ahead of the curve and stay abreast of what is actually going on with our food because it definitely is challenged and changing rapidly and to a lot very broadly. So we need to be we need to have our heads up, heads on the swivel, and stay and eyes open to stay awake and know what's going on. If you have any questions, comments, please hit us up at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. If you want to learn how to grow your own food, me and Farmer Brown MC, we have a great course at the Black Business School, healthyblackfood.com. You can learn how to grow your own food. It's very engaging. You can do this with your family, and we can make sure that you yourself will be food secure into the now and foreseeable future. Farmer Brown, if the people really want to know something, what do they need to do?
Really want to know something, family? Let's keep our eyes on the prize. Let's learn how to grow something.
Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Be blessed. Stay growing. Keep growing. Never stop growing. And that's physically, mentally, spiritually, metaphysically. Let's keep growing. And let's also grow this conversation about our food and what we are eating. Let's keep this conversation growing. Let's grow, let's grow, let's grow harder. Until next time, it's B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris, Farmer Brown MC. See you next time.